All right. Sorry, guys. I am trying to do this uh, technology by myself here, engineering this, having connection issues, and breathe. What a way to start. Hi, Lindsay. How are you today?
I'm getting used to living in a world where there's never a dull moment. So
Yes,
it
I'm
doesn't
telling you.
matter what's going on. Is it going to be a fire, a hurricane? Is our technology going to drop? Is there going to be unrest in the streets? Who knows?
Who knows?
Wild world.
WW3 anytime. We don't know.
We don't know.
WW3 will mean there's no more world.
Right.
Yeah. So they will take us out. But anyway, this is about recovery. It's not
Let's
about
talk about
war.
recovery. Why not?
We might have to talk about recovering from all this mess.
Yeah.
Yes, we will. I think we should do an episode. But uh to everybody out there, welcome to the Reach Out Recovery podcast, where we break down the myths, misconceptions, and straight up lies about what it means to heal and thrive. If you've ever felt like recovery is like the straight path with no room for fun, mistakes, or community, let me tell you right now, honey, you've been sold a fantasy. Recovery, it's messy, it's wild, and it's full of surprises. And guess what? That's exactly what makes it powerful.
Absolutely. So, today we are going to talk about some of the biggest myths about recovery that might be holding you back. We're going to break them down. We're going to share some real stories, give practical tips, and finish each segment with a magic quote that you can carry with you. Because recovery isn't just about healing, it's about living, really, really living. And I'm going to get into that today.
I love this. And we're both being in recovery for different reasons. You're more hardcore recovery. I'm kind of like not going to a recovery.
But
Just
I
trying to do it on my own.
But we
Um,
do this because we're all recovering from something. I mean, just living life is you have to recover these days. So,
everybody's recovering from something.
yeah. So
Absolutely.
everything we're going to talk about today applies to most people, but it definitely for the people who are actively putting down drugs or alcohol or anything else really, sex, gambling, you name
Right?
it, anything you can be addicted to, these are going to be really, really helpful for you.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk about why recovery doesn't mean you have to give up fun.
Absolutely.
No, my middle name. Why did you have to do it alone? You don't have to do it alone. You can seek support. And why relapse doesn't mean you failed.
Absolutely.
So, Lindsay, let's get into it because the truth about recovery is way more beautiful than the myths you've been told.
That's
So, let me go with segment number one with doing great connection. Okay, the guy are with us today. All right. So, segment number one, we are going to talk about myth number one, which is recovery means you can never have fun again. Okay, you are the expert on recovery. You really, and your page is Reach Out Recovery. By the way, everybody, make sure you subscribe to both of us, to Lindsay, Reach Out Recovery, and to me, the State of Grace Fraga. So, let's talk about the myth that recovery means you have to give up fun. Okay. So, for a lot of people, the idea of recovery feels like trading in all the joy, the excitement, and spontaneity for a life that's restricted. And let's face it, boring AF. But
Oh, we lost her. But that's actually not the case at all. And what we're going to talk about a little bit is the reality that the kind of fun you're having when you're drinking and using is very fleeting. And the consequences from it are often bigger than the time you had. And the reality is, when you're living a life that you're present for and able to actually enjoy the activities that you're doing and be really there for them, it's an entirely different experience. So, hi, Grace. I was just kind of getting into. So I just want to I'm just going to say some stuff here. I don't really care what people say in the comments. Drugs and alcohol are poison. I
oh,
want to be really, really
absolutely.
clear. We've gotten
Absolutely.
into this world where, because of advertising, because of all these different media, it's very easy to look at people drinking using, there is a lot I am seeing on TikTok about, I don't know how to say, I know we're not allowed to say certain things on here, but I'm seeing things on TikTok where people are glamorizing, hard substance use. And
Yeah.
it's really shocking for me. It's really, really shocking
Right.
for me as somebody that had a problem with some of those things. And this is why. When you are drinking, you are putting something into your body that
Yeah.
is changing the way you see things, that's changing the way you behave, that's taking away your ability to make good sense, make good choices. Everybody, if there's anybody listening or anybody who will listen, will know they've hooked up with somebody they didn't mean to when they were drinking.
Hmm.
They did things they didn't want to when they were drinking. They got into the kind of trouble they never would have gotten into if they hadn't been drinking.
Absolutely.
So I just want to be really clear. This whole myth of we're having fun with alcohol and substances. Are you? Or
Not
are you?
really. Not
No.
really. Let me
I,
tell you my experiences with
please.
alcohol. I'm not an alcoholic hardcore, I guess. I don't drink alcohol. I haven't drank alcohol in like 3 years because I'm a cancer survivor. So no thanks. Uh, but at some point, I was actually drinking every night for like 6 months because I was trying to deal with something that was really very scary. And all of a sudden, I realized like I am always tired. It's kind of like a depressant.
It is a
Alcohol.
depressant.
It really is. And so I am not happy. This is not helping. And I quit from one day to the other, meaning I would have a glass of wine when I went out to dinner and not every night at home. And I
Right.
was like drinking half a bottle to a bottle. That's a lot.
Yes.
That's a lot. And I would fall asleep. So I could never become a real alcoholic because at the, half a bottle, I fall asleep like a baby. So you do. Yeah.
No, no, no. What I was going to say is, I also want to say that, like, just because you can't drink a ton of alcohol, I mean, your body's even saying to you, hey, I don't want this in my
Yeah.
body. Like,
Yeah.
I can't handle this. But I want to speak to this because what you're describing is it's not alcoholism. It's what we in my world call as somebody who becomes alcohol dependent. And it often is very situational,
Yeah.
going through a divorce,
Yeah.
going through a breakup, financial instability. It's like when life feels out of control, when we're sad, when we can't control our emotions, we tend to turn to alcohol or substances to feel better, which is exactly what you were doing, only
Right.
to find that 6 months in, you don't feel better.
No, you don't. You feel actually worse. And also, I was gaining weight like you would not believe. Because what I did is I ate, because I don't like my wine by itself.
Of
I
course
ate
not.
salami. I was not vegan at the time, obviously, which is processed meats, which is awful. And I ate olives with salami and I loved it. I love the food, but then I know delicious, right? But then, girl, I would fall asleep on the couch, then wake up at 3, 4 in the morning, interrupted sleep. I would go to my bed. I would be like,
There
oh,
it is.
girl. And also, one time I did that. And I didn't realize how stupid I was being. I drank and I waxed because I do my own waxing. I was waxing my legs and then the the metal thing fell on my leg and I had like a third-degree burn or something. It was awful.
No, I mean, and if you want to talk about the accidents that have happened, I cut this finger off.
How did you do that?
I was not sober and I was cooking and I was using a serrated knife. I was very not sober.
Yeah.
And I was cutting into a bread, probably because I wanted some bread and cheese with
Yeah.
my
I know.
whatever the hell I was doing at the time.
Yeah.
And a serrated knife will slice right through. And I
Ooh.
actually, you can still see the scar. I have no feeling in my finger,
Oh.
and it needed to be reattached.
Ooh.
So
Wait, the whole freaking finger? Like your
yeah,
bone?
the nerves needed to be reattached. It was a major surgery. And then I was
Wait.
casted like this for like months
Wait,
for the
okay.
nerves to regrow.
Okay. Okay. You were not feeling the bone like being cut.
It didn't cut through the bone. It didn't cut
Okay.
through the bone. It cut through the nerves. And basically Here's what I'll say about it, Grace.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm in pain right
Anytime
now.
people talk to me about all the fun they're having, in these situations, like I often want to remind people, have you ever had these kinds of experiences when you weren't drinking? Like, have you ever cut a finger off, gotten a DUI? So, I kind of want to like take us back to the fun in recovery. I just want to
Yes.
say something.
Yes.
The most fun I've had with people has been with other sober people in recovery
How
doing things.
interesting.
Yeah. Because you're present, you're connected, you're with like-minded people. And
Yes.
by the way, for me, I was a substance abuser.
Yeah.
So alcohol was part of it. But like, as soon as I wasn't feeling the same way, the evening or the day became about getting back to that place. It was never about being present with other people, listening to the music, watching the movie, enjoying talking to other people at the
Yeah.
party. It was, how do I get back to feeling the way I was feeling when I started the evening?
Yes.
And by the way, Grace, most of those evenings ended up with me alone in a bathroom somewhere
Oh my God. Throwing up, right?
doing God knows what. But like,
Girl, no, I know.
so the whole, do I have fun now? Yes, I have fun because my sleep isn't interrupted.
Yes.
And what you said before about that waking up at 2, 3 in the morning, all these people who are doing these things to feel better. And then like your sleep's disrupted, your health is disrupted, you're more depressed. So I really want to stress
Yeah.
that there's this belief system when you are drinking and using
Yeah.
that this is fun. And if you take this away, it's not going to be fun. And it couldn't be further from the truth.
100%.
When you don't have to stress out about, do you know what it's like to go on a trip when you're an addict? You have
No,
to
tell
have
me.
whatever you're addicted to, enough of it to go with you. You
Yeah.
have to find ways to travel with it so you won't be arrested. You have to, it is very, very stressful having that be part of your life. When that isn't part of your life and you just show up to the party, life is completely different.
So you have
So
to be an alcoholic means you're an FBI agent somehow. You become some kind of PI FBI agent because you have to like do
I
your
used to call
homework.
myself MacGyver because I could go anywhere in the world and
Yeah.
be able to find what I was looking for and
Wow.
then make the whatever, things I needed to be able to use it. I really was. I was like a chemist. I would joke about these things and it's not funny.
No, it's not. It's not. We can joke now, but yeah, it's not funny for sure. And let me tell you, when I drank on dates,
Oh
not
God.
good. Not good because you end up doing stuff that you're like, oh hell no. Hell no. What have I done?
Listen, I think I got into relationships and was in
Same.
relationships the entire. I don't think there was one sober day. And that
Wow.
there was this funny trend on TikTok, and it was like something where you show your face and you're like, yeah, I really was on you know what when I was dating those people. People ask me, were you well when you were dating those people? And the answer is no, I was
No.
not.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna pull us back to the tips in the quote because I thought that was really,
definitely.
really good.
Okay.
Um, so we put together, I love tips. And
Oh, absolutely. Of course.
Grace and I are all about tips and self-improvement.
Yes.
So when you're starting something like this, when you're working on it this summer, as you start to think about how am I going to go have some fun that isn't wrapped around, bad behavior or drinking or whatever. So the first thing you want to do is you want to redefine what fun looks like.
I love that.
Yes. Now, is fun really waiting for 3 blank dealers to call you back? No, that's not fun. That is stressful.
Yes.
So make a list of things that you actually enjoy doing. And
Can,
like, I love to hike. People get so annoyed. They're like, I don't
yeah.
like hiking. But truly, have you ever been out on a beautiful hike in
I
nature?
I love it, even when I get out of breath because the hills are a little steep. But let me tell you with the alcohol thing, what I do now that I can't drink at all, I mean, I can, but I choose not to So because the risk of cancer reoccurrence when you drink alcohol, by the way, you guys, not just reoccurrence, but the risk of the cancer risk increases by 40 to 50%. That's a lot.
Alcohol causes cancer.
Thank you. Absolutely. I dated a guy who
It
was
does.
just 2 years in recovery and he had bladder cancer and
Yeah.
it was from the alcohol.
Yeah.
I don't know if my cancer was aided by alcohol. I'm sure it helped
Yeah.
when I was drinking, those 6 months and other times too. So what I do now is I loved the texture of the wine. I love red wine. That's all I drink. I don't like anything else. I drank, not drinking anymore. So I replaced it by like hibiscus tea,
Oh.
which looks the same color as red wine. And I'm like sipping on it like, ooh, this is delicious. So to me now, my new wine is hibiscus tea.
Okay, so let's add that to the mix. Replacement activities.
Yes.
And for those people who are sitting there going, oh, I'll never enjoy a music festival or I'll never enjoy, I dare you to go to one of those things sober. And you tell me if you have a worse or a better time, because I'd put money on it that you'll have a better time enjoying the music and being part of that energy sober.
Yes,
Than
because
like,
you're present, Lindsay.
yeah,
You're present in the moment. Alcohol, what I found is I was not present. I was in
yeah.
my own little world, in my own little bubble of BS and acting stupid.
Yeah. And by the way, the risks, look, alcohol isn't going to cause cancer for everybody, but it will
Right.
for some people. And,
100%.
taking the kind of things that you would take at a festival isn't going to make everybody dehydrate and pass out, but it will make some people.
Absolutely.
And, every time you take a risk like that, it is a risk.
Huge.
What's in it? Where did it
Huge.
come from? How is my body going to respond today? How's my body going to respond when it's 90 degrees and I'm dehydrated as opposed to some other situation? Okay.
Let me tell you another thing, Lindsay. When I was drinking a little bit, I dehydrated a lot and I threw up a lot. I know, sorry guys, but a lot. I was like, why am I throwing up so much? And I was like, oh, dehydration.
So Grace, you're proving my point. Like people are like, it's so fun. Is it fun being
No,
hungover?
it was
Is
awful.
it fun throwing up? What does this actually look like? Spending money. All right, carry on. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's good. Hey, we're talking here. All right. What's tip number 2? Talk to me.
Find your people. Find your people.
Yes.
So the scariest thing that happens when you go into recovery is they're like, you can't have the same friends. You need new friends and you can't talk to that. And you're like, but I love my crazy friends. And as time goes on, it is complicated to be a sober person with friends who are not following the same lifestyle. So it does become incredibly important to find people who are on the same path as you. Now, I do not consider this press, radio, or film. I am in 12-step programs. I'm proud of it. I will always say that I'm in 12-step programs. They've kept me alive. They've kept me in healthy relationships with people. If you don't like 12-step programs, don't go. I'm not pitching it at all. But for me, that is where I found my core group of friends. I have about 5 friends who I talk to regularly, one almost every day. A few of them are not even in AA anymore. One is Cali sober now. One, we all go on our journey of what's right for us with time.
Yes.
But they are people who are on the same path as me. They understand what we're trying to do. And believe it or not, I love the people I grew up with. I am still friends with some people from childhood, but you have a different bond. It's like people who have the same religion as you, people who are in the same hobbies. You have a bond with these people.
Yes.
And one of my sponsors said to me, you only need one person in your life who you tell absolutely everything to.
Yes. Yes.
Do you have that?
I have a friend. I'm very private in the sense. I know I have a big mouth and I tell everybody my business, but I'm kind of private and I don't, because I grew up in a dictatorship. I am very, it's very hard for me to trust somebody 100%.
Right.
So I have friends that I tell one thing, different aspects of
But
my life.
that's okay too.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? Therapy helps. Like during my cancer journey, my cancer healing journey, which is a recovery, by the way, is a form of, it is recovery. You have to recover from all that. I talked to a cancer therapist. Her husband is an oncologist. She specializes in cancer patients. And that, oh my God, it helped me so much. And because I was private about my cancer journey when I was going through it for personal reasons, I could talk to her and it helped me so much.
You know what? You're reminding me. There was a wonderful woman who sponsored me in New York, and she was in recovery, but she was also a life coach.
Yeah,
And she actually ended up coaching me a little bit as
nice,
well.
nice.
And you're right. She was one of the first people who really helped me change my life. So
Mhm.
finding somebody who's either professional or on the borderline of that professional that
Yes,
can really push you. She helped me learn how to budget. She helped me learn. I
beautiful.
mean, she would meet me at Soul Cycle, like really help me develop a recovery lifestyle of
Yeah.
fitness, nutrition. She showed me literally, I mean, I was like a idiot when I came into recovery. I just
Well,
didn't.
you were like a little wild animal,
Yeah, I was a little
That,
wild
yeah,
animal,
yeah.
and I there were people who taught me everything from how to be polite to how to,
Wow.
look at what I should be eating. So it was really helpful. All
Girl,
right.
sounds like when I moved to the US, I had to relearn everything.
Yeah.
Like, oh, for real.
That's exactly right. It's like a
Yeah,
new culture. So
absolutely. Yes.
don't be afraid of the new recovery culture because it's going to be better. You're going to like it better. And the third tip is you have to test the waters. Don't sit here
Mm,
and tell me you don't like something until you've tried it. Like I lived near the beach for 5 years. I was like, I won't paddleboard. I hate going in the water. I love the ocean, but I don't like to get into it. I'm scared. And then I was forced to paddleboard with somebody last summer. It was the
yes.
most fun I'd ever had in my life. I'm like, I've lived here for 5 years and I have not been paddleboarding. Like, what
That's
the heck
crazy.
is wrong with me?
I
But
know.
I imagined that I would hate it.
Well,
So
that's like human nature because we're afraid of the unknown, right? That's very normal. But I would never try, for example, like skydiving or
no,
anything. No thanks. Passing on that. Even scuba diving. I don't do any of the divings.
no.
Definitely not. Anything that risks my life. But I don't know if you do this. This is part of the craziness. I love watching YouTube videos where people are like climbing Everest and like,
Yes.
yeah, or they're doing things where they're like diving all the way
Yes.
from a cliff to like a small puddle.
Yeah, I've
And
seen that one.
and right, I know, I am fascinated with that. Or parkour. Oh, parkour. I'm sweating. I'm literally
I
sweating
know.
when I'm watching.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, so those are out of the picture for sure.
Um, okay, so let's end this one. And the quote is, and this
Yes,
is a good one. Recovery isn't the end of your fun. It's the beginning of living fully awake.
yes.
Woohoo!
Being in the now, the power of now. You're
Yeah.
awake when you're drunk. I mean, okay, when you're altered in an altered state of consciousness, produced by substances. I'm gonna have to be careful on YouTube. Then you are really not in the now. You're in your own little bubble. So you want to be living in the now. You came here to this planet to enjoy this planet and
Yeah.
to be living in the now. And one little sidebar from a nerd, a quantum nerd, in the quantum field, there's no past or future. There's always a now. Everything is happening all at the same time in parallel realities. So you'll be aligning to the quantum field if you live in the now. And I heard something that if you live in the now, you're going to age slower than if you focus on the past or the future. I'm just saying.
I believe it because,
Yeah.
stress and anxiety, which often, I deal a lot with stress and anxiety in my own life. And one of the things I'm always being told to work on is stay present. If you're
Yeah.
worrying about the future or if you're
Yeah.
feeling bad about the past, you are creating energy
Totally. 100%.
and it,
And
it,
you're
dr- it does drain you.
absolutely. Well, you're putting out the energy in the quantum field for sure. Okay, so let me introduce segment number 2. It's myth number 2. You have to do it alone. Now, let's bust open one of the most isolating myths of all, that you have to do this alone. I mean, how many times have you heard, Lindsey, that recovery is this solitary journey? You have to just stuff it up and do it on your own, that you have to go off into your own little corner of the world and fight your demons all by yourself. Uh, I'm here to tell you, and you're here to tell everybody that's total BS.
Yeah, and I would take it further. I would say part of, and I say this from personal experience,
Yes.
part of the disease of alcoholism and addiction is isolation.
Yes.
We want to isolate. We don't want to ask for help. Even in the process of getting better, there's a
Mhm,
sense of resistance to it. I don't
mhm,
want to do that today. I don't want to call that person. I don't want to do the things that are going to make me feel better.
mhm.
And sorry. And it's really, really important to know that actually community and finding people who can get
Mhm.
you through those moments, people who have walked before you, people
Yes.
who can show you how to do it. And even if they can't show you, just somebody to at least be with you on this path, it makes
Yes.
all the difference in the world.
It is crucial for any type of recovery, any type of disease you're going through. It is so important to have community. And if that community is just one or two people, that's okay. It doesn't have to be like 30,000 people. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, we're wired for connection. We're
Yeah.
social beings. And yes, it's okay to be by yourself and love being by yourself, but you also need the support of other humans. Like I
Yeah.
remember during my cancer recovery, which I recovered from chemo, radiation, and surgery. I'm a triple threat, baby. Hey, don't mess with me.
That's right.
I will outdo anybody in the cancer field. Stage 3. So I during the recovery, I remember watching TikToks, and during my cancer journey too, but especially during the recovery, watching TikToks about what people go through after the recovery, because they don't tell you what happens after cancer treatment. Thank
Mm.
God they don't tell you. Because if not, you'll be like, you know what? No, I'm not doing it. But to see other people going through it, and it's just TikTok, it's not, like in
Yeah.
person, or talking to somebody else who's been through it on the phone. That helped me in the beginning when I was so scared. I talked to somebody who's been through the cancer journey twice, and she's amazing and she's doing great. And so we need that. We need to see other people thriving. We need to see how other people healed and what their journey has been like.
So I'll tell you one quick story about me, and then I'm going to tell you a fan story to
Yes.
prove our points here. So when I came in, I came into recovery really young,
Yeah.
and it was very, very tricky because
Yeah.
when you're young, you really want to see people around you who look like you, or so
Yeah.
I had the first time I got sober, it really, really didn't stick for me. And I had struggled. I had not found people that I felt were like me. I
Mm.
felt I didn't need it.
Yeah.
I really thought it had been a phase. I was going to outgrow it. I wasn't going to be like this when I was older.
Wow.
And it wasn't until I came out to California when I was in my 20s and I started going to meetings, and the most famous people I had ever seen in my life were in these meetings. And here I am, I'm going. In those days, they had meetings at this rock club called the Key Club. And you go into these meetings, and like half of Hollywood would be there.
Absolutely.
And it changed my life because it got
Yeah.
me to go. I got to meet some of them. Honestly, it was
Yeah.
exciting for me. It took
Well,
this thing that was so like ugly and shameful, and
into something fun, right?
yeah, they're
Well,
laughing, they're telling stories, like musicians I had idolized are telling me
oh
funny
my God, that is
stories.
so cool.
So, that really changed my life, and that was the first time I thought, "Oh," and I hate to make it about that, but when you're getting sober, make it about whatever works.
Exactly. It doesn't matter, really. Just hang on to whatever you can for any hope that you
That's
can.
right.
Yes,
And for
100%.
me, the fact that these people I thought were cool were
Yes,
not only getting sober, but wanted to help me get sober.
that
It
is
was
amazing.
bananas. Now, the other thing I want to tell you, and we have a specific story, but I have seen this so many times.
Yes.
You have somebody whose parents made them go to treatment a bunch of times, or wife, or
Hmm.
somebody who like kind of needs recovery but is struggling with it, hasn't found their community. And then you take them out of that community and you put them somewhere else into a recovery community, or they find a friend, or, you know, I have a best friend in recovery, and my life really changed when she and I became friends, because suddenly there were two of us, and she was really cool and she did cool things. And it was like, I just felt like, it felt like a gift.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like a punishment. So I just want to share that multiple times we have seen people who have said, I don't get it, I can't do it. They're doing it on their own. And then we pull them into a recovery community where they're meeting other people just like them, going through the same things. They make a friend, they get a mentor, and everything is different after that.
Absolutely. And I was going to say AA meetings in LA are like networking meetings.
They really are. It's ridiculous. So I've been sober in New York, LA, and Florida. And let me tell you, my network is huge. Just
I
from
can only imagine. Well,
being in the rooms in those 3 states.
absolutely. Well, that's why you do what you do. And actually, why don't we break for to show a video
Great.
of what you do on Reach Out Recovery.
Navigating life in this increasingly complicated world is hard. From relationships to your mental and emotional health, life at work, your work-life balance, and then the second job of being in some kind of recovery from something. It can be overwhelming. We get it, we know it, and we have over 1,600 original articles, infographics, and a line of self-help books dedicated to helping you navigate life. Relationships, recovery, and behavioral health are our specialty. You can find dozens of viral articles on narcissism, codependency, signs of toxic family and friends, relapse prevention, managing depression, and so much more. So check us out at reachoutrecovery.com to support all your wellness needs.
All right. So that's what Lindsey does. So check her out, reachoutrecovery.com. 1,600 articles.
I think they're more like 2,000 now.
Girl, I thought I was doing great with my YouTube channel with 630 videos.
We've been doing it since 2011.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah. Every time we redo the website, we lose some. But yeah, we've been doing it a minute.
I love it. So let's go to the practical tips for this segment. You have to do it alone is a big myth. Myth number 2. So first practical trip. I want to go on a trip. That's what's happening in my head. You know, when you're bilingual, it's so weird. Like your brain sometimes goes to Spanish or just goes to like La La Land. Like, sure. I don't know what I'm talking, if I'm speaking in English or Spanish. I have times when I'm like, am I speaking English or Spanish like a microsecond? Or am I watching this in English and Spanish? So bear with me. My tongue has to catch up with my I
understand
4 languages I speak. So practical tip number 1, find your tribe. And how can we do that, Lindsey?
So what I said before stands. If you're not into formal recovery groups, don't bother. I mean, I always advise checking something out, and don't just check out one. Every group has a personality. Every city has a personality. If you don't feel comfortable, the whole point of recovery groups is to feel comfortable. So explore. And if you don't like them, you know, there are so many ways to meet other people that are going through what you're going through. And certainly we always recommend, like, look to where your passions are. Are you somebody who cares about spirituality and religion? Trust me, they have recovery groups there. Are you somebody who cares about exercise and nutrition? Guess what? There are actually a lot of groups that are now merging all of this together, like general wellness. And the trick is really just to find people who are living a life like you. So that's the kind of find your tribe place.
Absolutely. Practical tip number 2, reach out to trusted people.
So we have a great line in recovery that says, don't go to the Apple store for oranges. And what you said before was really good. You know, you don't want to go to somebody for relationship advice who can't keep a relationship.
Totally.
And you don't want to go to somebody for sobriety advice who can't stay sober.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to have a group of people in your life that you can call for different reasons.
Yes.
I have friends I call for relationship advice. I have friends I do not call for relationship advice. I have friends I avoid when I'm having
Yeah,
relationship issues because I don't want to hear what they have to say about it.
I know that's so true. Yes. It's like keep the advice to yourself. Thanks.
But
Yeah.
if something is taking up space in your heart and in your head,
Yeah.
find somebody safe you can talk to about it.
Absolutely. You have to. Well, we talked about like, as a survivor of a military dictatorship, right now, all this political unrest is really upsetting me. So I decided to talk to a therapist
Right.
who treated me, helped me during my cancer journey.
Yes.
So seek for help. It's okay. Seek help. Ask for help. That's tip number 3. Ask for help without shame. It's okay to ask for help. That doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're dumb. It means you're strong and you're smart.
Yes.
That's what that means.
I agree completely.
Amazing. Okay. So I love when we agree.
We have to try and agree less.
I know we should. Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm too tired for that. So let's move on to myth number 3, which is if you relapse, you failed. Healing isn't linear. So let's get into this.
Okay. So this is by far the biggest myth in recovery, in
Yeah.
my opinion. The idea that if you've relapsed, you've failed is, I think it's very damaging.
Hmm.
It keeps people locked in shame. It certainly keeps people afraid to reach out for help. And worst of all, it makes them think they're not worthy of healing. But
Right.
here's the truth. Recovery isn't a straight line. It's messy, it's raw, and sometimes you take many steps forward before you take a leap forward.
Hmm.
So, I'm gonna talk for a quick second and interrupt me whenever you want, but I just want
Okay.
to say this because it's really, really important for people to understand.
Yes.
People meet me now, and it's very hard to believe what I've been through.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, I was a chronic relapser. I
Wow.
got sober for the first time at 21. It did not last. For 8 years, I tried to get sober. For 8 years, I struggled. I'd start, I'd stop, I'd do this, I'd say, I can't do this anymore, I'd move to that. I had
Mhm.
periods where I was better, I had periods when I was worse. In my late 20s, I had what they call a progressive relapse.
Ooh,
Um,
what's that?
so they say when you stop using, if you start again, eventually you're going to go right back to where you were.
Yeah.
So by the time I was in my late 20s, I got very close to where I had been, at 21 that had landed me in rehab the first time.
Yeah.
So I went into outpatient at that point for 3 months. And I still had a year where I struggled after that. And
Mm.
I still had a spinal surgery at 33 where I
Ooh.
relapsed and changed my date. So that is a success story.
Yeah.
It's now 15 years later from my last relapse almost. I run a recovery company. I publish books. I teach, you know what I mean? Like I like to believe I'm on the other side. I don't
Mhm.
think I'm healed forever, but people really need to understand sometimes that a story like mine is not uncommon. It often takes people 3, 4, 5 times in treatment
Yes.
to find their way. What do you think about that?
I think recovery in general for anything is not a straight line. For anything. For cancer, it wasn't a straight line. It's still not a straight line. Some days you're okay, some days you're not okay. And same with substance abuse. Some days you might be like, screw it, I'm gonna go and have a drink because I am upset. And then you have to start over. It happens, right? That's the way life is. It's not linear.
But I think we have to change the ideas and the kind of there's so much stigma and there's so much I truly think part of the problem with some of these recovery groups is if you relapse, you have to raise your hand and start
Oh,
counting
you
days again.
wait, you do?
Oh, yeah, and
Ah,
not in
that
all, but in some, and
yeah,
I think that that is a huge deterrent. A lot of people relapse and they never
yeah,
come back because they
yeah,
don't want to admit what happened. They don't
right.
want people to tell. Let's be honest, it's anonymous, but not really. People have big mouths.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, they've told me some of the celebrities, some people that are not you, but somebody
I've
else.
relapsed and
I was
people
like,
told.
dude, you should
Yeah.
not be telling me this. Stop
So,
it.
and I had a situation many, many years ago where I did relapse. Somebody told,
Mhm.
professional colleagues found out. I lost
Yeah.
gigs over it. It was
Oh,
very, very embarrassing. I had already started Reach Out Recovery. This was when I had my spinal surgery. It was the last relapse. It was a relapse given, the pills were given to me by a doctor.
oh,
But because I had to share about that in my recovery, it
yeah.
made me never want to do it again.
Yeah. Was it during your spinal surgery? They gave you painkillers?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Doctors, let me tell you, they're always like, I have a tummy ache. Go painkillers. It's like, no, no, keep it to yourself. I refuse all painkillers. Even at the hospital, I refused painkillers, believe it or not. Morphine, no, when they had surgery, but
Yeah.
that's a different story. But like afterwards, I was like, no, no, because I know the dangers and I'm a little bit leery of that. And look, bottom line, healing is not a straight climb up a mountain. It's more like a spiral staircase. You might
Absolutely.
yeah, you might come back to the same issues, the same triggers, but you're not at the same level, right? You're dealing with them from a higher perspective. And
That's right.
relapse is not the end. It's just feedback of what you're going through. It's information. It's your mind and body saying, okay, we've still got work to do here. We're not done. That's it. It's not a moral failure. It's not a
Yeah.
death sentence. It's just a signpost.
And when you've been having a certain set of behaviors for
Yeah,
decades,
right.
the idea that you're going to be able to change them like that and stick to it, you have neural pathways that have
Totally.
developed around these
Totally.
behaviors and these substances and
Yeah.
drinking.
Yeah.
The minute, to this day, certain holidays, I'm still triggered.
I
4th
bet.
of July, who's making the margaritas? It's like it's not like that stuff changes. And I just want to say, in
Mhm.
terms of relapse prevention,
Yeah.
the trick is, you're going through a breakup, you're bored, you have money, you don't have money, like
Yeah.
whatever it is that's triggering you.
Yeah.
This is when you go back to the first part and you go, I have to remember that wasn't fun. And now is the
Right.
time that I call my tribe and they remind me, hey, we're on a better path here. We've moved through this.
Mhm.
So, all of this is connected. In
Absolutely.
order to move through the relapse phase, you actually
Yep.
have to start using your tools. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like it's even with the cancer recovery. Whenever I'm like, oh, I kind of miss eating a steak or, stuff that would not be good for me because I was hormone positive, right? My cancer. And so then I'm like, I do the same thing. I'm like, do you remember how awful it was? Oh, okay. That's why you're not eating meat and drinking alcohol and
right,
became Whole Foods plant based. Got it.
play the tape through.
Yeah. It's like I have to go back and be like, oh, this was not fun.
Mhm.
It was awful. It was I remember looking like death, literally, with dark circles, pale, bald. I was like, I look like a 93-year-old alien. Not cute. It's not cute. I don't
By
want
the
to look like
way,
that.
addiction does the same.
Oh, it does the same. What does it? Yeah.
So when I went into treatment, and I think it's important to talk about these things. I don't
Yes.
love remembering it, but I was 95 pounds. I couldn't eat solid food. My hair was falling out, and I had bruises all over my body because I was anemic.
It's like chemo.
Yeah.
Oh my God, because you're putting actually a poison in your
Yes.
body, and that's what chemo is. Kills the
Yes.
cancer, but it kills your good cells too. So that's what you were doing. You were literally
Yeah. And
killing your
I
cells.
want to say something, one of the things I for many, many years, I wasn't sick. I was very sick growing up. And then I had a period where I just didn't get sick for a couple years and it was incredible. And
Right.
this past year, I've been sick a couple times. Like I had the flu, I had
Yeah.
something else. And let me tell
Hmm.
you, nothing is more triggering for me than getting sick. Cause for me, it feels like being hungover and being drug sick.
Oh,
And
that
I'm
is
just
so
like,
interesting.
make it stop. So that's
Right.
always a reminder for me too.
I,
So
I love that because let me tell you, it's same with cancer survivors. Whenever you're like, like I have a mole now that they're gonna like do a biopsy. I don't think it's melanoma. I think it's just a mole.
do you want me to look? I'm a professional.
You are. I'll send you a picture. I have a picture. I sent it to ChatGPT like a million and a half times.
Our best friend.
I know, I know. I'm like, are you sure it's not cancerous? Well, 95% chance it's benign. I'm like, what are the 5%? So my
Hilarious.
point is that's the same thing. Like that mole is triggering
Yeah.
all of that. And it's, you have to calm yourself
Yeah,
down.
you do.
Like it's okay. It's okay. Don't, it's the triggers are insane. Whatever you go through, anything that you're recovering from, the triggers are just wow. Okay, let's go to practical tips because that's what we're all about. The practical
Okay.
tips, not trips.
You do the first one because I want to do the second.
Okay, drop the shame. Understand that relapse is part of recovery for many people in any type of recovery. It's not the end, it's an opportunity to learn what triggered it. That's exactly what it is. Whenever you feel like, oh, I want to drink, or oh, I'm scared to have cancer, what triggered you? What is triggering you so that you know to avoid that trigger? If it's a person, sometimes it's a person that
Yeah.
triggers you. And
Yeah.
so, you know what? I have no problem delete and block. Not
Yeah.
a problem. If somebody is not good for me, if something or someone is not good for you, guys, delete and block. Period.
All right. Number two is analyze the pattern. What happened before you slipped? Were you isolated, stressed? What was the trigger? Find the root so you can handle it differently next time. So we say there's always a slip before the slip.
Yeah.
So by the time you pick up a drink or a substance, you've already thought it through. So that's what's really important. You have to start thinking about what was the thinking, what was the behavior that led to this? Because there are patterns to all of this. And you're
Yeah.
right. Part of my business is I do family wellness. And if you have somebody in your family that you don't get along with, you have a toxic relationship, and
Yes.
every time you have a blow up, you want to go drink or do something to feel better, that is a pattern.
Yes.
So look to who are the people that are triggering you. Is it work situations? What are the things that are creating a circumstance that makes you want to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll say the magic quote, but you go ahead and set tip number 3 because I
Okay.
I want to be dramatic with the magic
I
quote.
love it. Okay.
Yeah.
So number 3 is always reframe the narrative. And this we call this at Reach Out Recovery, change your perspective.
Hmm.
Instead of saying I failed, say I learned. Focus on what you can do differently moving forward. Because
Yes.
by the way, I think a lot of what people like about me today is the fact that I'll get up here and say, yeah, I look pretty normal now, but I wasn't. And I've
Right.
been through hell to get here.
Yeah.
So just know that I'm not ashamed of my past. My past has actually been the content that built me a company and wrote me a book
Right.
that got me into Oprah's book club.
Absolutely.
So
You build your empire on a bottle of wine.
take your pain and turn it into something.
Yes,
All right.
absolutely. Girl, I'm all for it. Okay. Magic quote. You don't have to start over. You just have to pick up where you left off. And on that note, let me actually show you guys a video of my book, Get This Off My Chest, where I talk about my cancer journey, including my recovery. And while you're actually doing treatment, you have to recover from a lot of side effects. So here it is. We'll be right back. Life hit me with a storm I never saw coming. Stage 3 breast cancer. But let me tell you something. When the storm passes, something beautiful can emerge. I know because I lived it. Get This Off My Chest is my story of transformation. It's about finding peace, joy, and positivity in the middle of the hardest battle of my life. This book is for anyone who's ever felt overwhelmed by life's challenges, especially when it comes to your health. It's not just another cancer memoir, it's a guide to reclaiming your life, your joy, and your power. When I was going through cancer treatment, I made a choice to laugh through the chaos, to surround myself with love, and to embrace every single day with gratitude. I want to share that with you. Get This Off My Chest is about shifting your mindset, flipping the script, and learning to find light in the darkest moments. Because I believe that transformation is beautiful, and every challenge, no matter how hard, is an opportunity to rediscover yourself. So whether you're fighting your own battle or supporting someone you love, this book is for you. It's for the warriors, the survivors, and anyone ready to live life with joy, strength, and a whole lot of humor. Get your copy of Get This Off My Chest. It's available on my online shop, www.thestateofgraceshop.com. Your journey to healing starts now. All right. So there we go. So we have some people watching. This is so great. You guys, thank you for staying. We have from the State of Grace Fraga on YouTube, from Facebook Reach Out Recovery, and from the YouTube Reach Out Recovery. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channels and like, comment, and share this video for those that need it, that in your life are looking for recovery, or they need recovery, or they are triggered to relapse. So this is it. This is the video, baby. All right, let's go to myth number 4, and that is you have to forgive to move on. Now, that's a heavy one. You have to forgive to move on. I mean, how many times have you been told that unless you forgive everyone who's hurt you, you can't heal? That's crazy. But we're here to tell you right now that's a myth. Forgiveness is powerful, absolutely, but it is not required for you to move forward. What is required is acceptance. Acceptance of what happened, acceptance of who people are, and acceptance of where you are right now.
Wow.
How can you follow that? Follow that, lady.
So I want to back up for a quick second and just add, first of all, yeah, forgiveness is huge. And to connect the forgiveness to like why we chose forgiveness as one of our tips for myths in recovery is not everybody who becomes an alcoholic or an addict has trauma in their past, but a majority do. Most people who go down that path have experienced some kind of dysfunction, childhood trauma, alcoholism in the family, or events in their life that may have created a situation in which, drugs and alcohol become a solution.
Yeah.
So forgiveness is something that, like resentment, one of the other things we say in recovery is resentments are the number one offenders. So I'm over here drinking because I'm mad at you.
Right.
So I'm drinking poison hoping that you're going to suffer.
Ugh.
And it makes no sense.
It's delusional.
It's delusional.
Yeah.
So forgiveness is something that you can feel like you're failing at recovery at first if you're not ready to like let go of some of this pain of stuff that's happened to you.
Yeah.
But forgiveness is it's a journey. It's not a requirement. And I'm going to speak from personal experience, and then we'll move on to some other stuff.
Okay.
Obviously, I have had drama in my family.
Yes. Who hasn't?
What?
Yeah. Who hasn't?
Most people have.
Yeah.
And actually, I was in a situation where me and a family member weren't speaking together, weren't
Mhm.
speaking to each other for years, and that
Yeah.
was an incredibly painful situation.
Yeah.
And I've done a lot in the forgiveness arena. And
Mhm.
forgiveness is so important for many reasons.
Yeah.
One, you first of all, you don't have to like have it all done, but you want to work on forgiveness because you're really doing it for you, not them.
Exactly.
And I think that's really, really important. But what you want to do is you don't have to forgive, but you don't want to be carrying around this backpack of rocks.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So, whether you're detaching a little bit from the situation, whether you're able to kind of say, okay, that happened. I may not be ready
Mhm.
to forgive this person, but I'm going to accept that it happened and I'm going to look at what I have to do
Yeah.
to move forward and get through it.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's easy also to blame other people, but really it's how we react to things, right?
Yes.
So once we take responsibility of how we're reacting to that trigger or that person, even if there's the most evil person you ever met, you still are responsible for how you respond and react. So that has been a huge thing for me in my life, especially having people who are sociopaths that I had to deal with. And it's, yeah, it's wow, it's hard to forgive. It's really hard to forgive people that have hurt you so deeply.
Forgiveness is actually kind of a practice.
It
And
is, yeah,
I
it
I
is.
just wanna say, when I was going through one of my experiences and we wrote about it in the
Mhm.
book, one of the things they say about forgiveness is you have to re-forgive.
Yeah, all the time, absolutely. Because sometimes I remember, like, I would be like, "Oh, I hate this person," and then it was like, "No, no, 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 don't be hating, girl, because that only affects you."
So
And so, I had to like go into my higher self and be like, okay, I understand they have their demons. They were born with this personality disorder. And I have empathy towards that fact. And
yeah.
so that helps me. I don't know. I mean, what helps you, like whenever you have to forgive someone?
Oh gosh, that's actually a really good question. I wish I had thought about it. First of all, I really like to try and put myself in other people's shoes
Yes.
and
Exactly.
understand what they're going through, and understand that not everybody's like me. I'm
Right.
very worried about, are you happy? Are you okay? But not everybody thinks that way. Some
No.
people, they're worried about their own safety. They're worried about getting what they need. And
Yes.
just because somebody's different from me doesn't mean they're bad.
No.
So I try to um, really look at people from where they're coming from.
Hmm.
I try to remember that forgiveness is for me, not them.
Absolutely.
That I don't want to be walking around angry and
Of
resentful, and that
course.
it's they're probably the more space they take up in my mind, the worse it is
Mhm.
for me, and they're probably not thinking about it.
At all. They don't care.
No, not at all.
And also,
And
you know what, Lindsay? Like sometimes I think about these people and I have a physical reaction in my stomach.
yes,
And I'm like, oh my God, it's affecting me physically to
yes,
think about this person.
yes,
So it's almost like you have to reroute your neural pathways in your
yes,
brain first because your brain rules your body, right? It's the computer that's like typing everything that needs to be done with the body. Digestion time, pooping time. So we have to kind of have those neural pathways re reroute it, right? And that's how do you do that? How do you reroute your neural pathways?
So first of all, I would say the first thing I want to respond to is say that I think we have a lot more control over our minds than we think.
Yes, we do.
I
100%.
get very frustrated with people in recovery, or I can't, or this, or and
Mm-mm.
actually you can.
Yeah,
So how do you redo the neural pathways? Well, you start small
right.
with little things that you want to do. So you want to be happy. One of the things we talk a lot about at Reach Out Recovery is how to be happy and how to get used to being happy when you're not
Yes.
used to it or you're not okay.
Yeah.
So you do little things, Grace. You make a list. What do I like to do? And then you go do it.
100%.
If you're struggling with dating, I had somebody who many years ago, when I had the bad boyfriend habit, said to me, you need to date yourself. Go
Right.
on the dates you want to go on. Take yourself on the dates you want to go on. Buy yourself flowers. Treat yourself the way you want to be treated.
100%.
So when you're going through your day saying, you know what, I feel like crap. I'm depressed. I'm anxious. I want to drink. This is my list. What can I do to make myself feel okay? And I am a professional tool user.
Yes.
So I know at this age, at this stage of recovery, guess what, Grace? I didn't feel great this morning. You know what I did? I did a 30-minute yoga stretch class in my apartment because I don't have
Nice.
time to go to the yoga studio, and I honestly don't want to pay for it right now.
Yeah, I know.
Half my stuff is packed up. So I did it. So instead of jumping on the news and getting on the phone, which I often
Right.
do, this
Girl.
morning I did
Yeah.
yoga,
Good.
took the dog to the park.
Yep.
I stopped at the way home and got fruit
I love
because
that because that makes you happy.
I love
That's
fruit.
healthy. Oh, I love fruit too.
Yeah.
That makes you happy. You know what I do, Lindsay? Every morning, I make it a habit. First of all, I wake up and I hate waking up. So I'm like, F this. I hate this. I want to stay in bed. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So then I'm like, okay, let's do a grateful list. I'm grateful for this, this, and that. And then instead of, like you're saying, instead of like watching what's happening in the country or in the world, what I do is I put solfeggio scale music like 528 HZ, and I like the 432 HZ.
Oh, you're one of those people that's
I am
listening
one
to
of those
things advertised to me every day.
Yes, yes. I yes. So I do in the morning, I do all my promos, my postings on social media while I'm listening to that. And it makes me happy because I am putting out good vibes on my social media, good videos, good stuff. And then I am listening to music that heals my soul.
There you go.
So
And
that's for me sets the tone for my day. And then like I teach swimming in the summer, and sometimes I'm like, oh God, I don't want to go in the pool. It's hot, and the kids are gonna drive me crazy. And then I'm like, no, change the song
yeah,
into I am going to have so much fun. These kids are adorable. They're sweet. They're kind. They need to learn how to swim and be safe in the water. So I change that. And let me tell you, it also changes the vibe of the lesson.
that's
because
right.
my vibe is up. But we all have those times all the time. Like, I don't want to do this. I want to drink, or and it's like whiny, whiny, whiny. Then flip it, twist it into something that will calm those thoughts and will make you feel good, because you need to take care of you.
You're also reminding me of the book, The Happiness Advantage by Sean Anker.
Oh,
This was recommended to me
it's
while
contagious, the tongue thing, the Latino tongue.
my mom has it too. It was recommended to me while I was in my recovery process by
Okay.
a therapist I was working with bi-weekly in
Yeah.
those first few years of family alienation.
Yes.
And the Happiness Advantage gives you tools. And I can't remember how long you do them for, but they're practices you do for 30 days.
Love.
And it's everything from a gratitude list
Mm-hmm.
to things you're looking forward to writing
Yes.
down things that you're happy about your day. And basically, if you do this stuff every day, you change your neural pathways. You are
Absolutely.
changing your ability to see clearly. All right.
Absolutely. And let me tell you, just quick sidebar, with the situation in the world, the wars and everything, and the political situation in this country, the neural pathways, they want to go back to the negative thinking, and they want
Yeah.
to go back to the victim mentality. So I don't know about you, but like it's for me, it's double the effort in these times
Yes.
to really switch. And I do switch. That's not the problem. But it's like, oh my God, it's almost like the heaviness is like weighing on you. And then you have to go away.
But I'm really glad you said it. And that's a big part of recovery. It
Really?
takes effort.
Yes,
You
it
have to work
does.
hard. You don't just
Yes.
pray and it works. You have to do things differently. And
Yes.
here's the thing, like I promise you it works and it's so much better, but
Yeah.
don't act like this doesn't take hard work. It does. All
Absolutely.
right, I'm
Life
going to
is
go.
hard work. Okay, let's go to the practical tips because we are running out of time and we want to get to that myth number 5.
Yeah, I
Let's
have good
go.
things to say about 5. So the first one is focus on acceptance first. You don't have to make peace with everything right away. Just accept that it happened and decide you're not going to let it control your thoughts moving
Right.
forward.
All right, let me read number 2. Set boundaries without forgiveness. It's possible to cut someone out of your life and heal without needing to fully forgive their actions. Like we were talking earlier, sometimes you forgive somebody, but then the anger might come back because they're doing something or you heard they said something about you or whatever the case may be. And so you need to, again, rewire yourself. So forgiveness is not a one-time deal. It's a constant until at some point, like I became, immune to certain people because I don't even care whatever they say, whatever they do. Who cares? I don't care. But, that takes training.
Yes.
Absolutely. It does. Okay.
Number
Practical tip.
3, give yourself permission to take your time. Forgiveness
Mhm.
is not a race and it's not mandatory. Heal on your terms. And I just want to say,
Yeah.
if it isn't clear, it was my mom and she's probably listening. So, um,
Okay.
but we didn't speak for 4 years. And actually I
Yeah.
wanted to make up before she was ready.
Yeah.
So sometimes, you can want to move forward and the other person may be ready, may not be ready. So you have to
Exactly.
really understand that everybody has to go on their own journey with forgiveness. So
Yes.
you have to be patient with yourself and patient with other people
Yes.
because especially when it comes to recovery, people want to feel safe with you.
Yes.
And addiction breeds dishonesty. It breeds all kinds of bad behavior. And sometimes it takes a couple years to make somebody really say, okay, this person feels like a really safe person for me to be around now.
100%. And by the way, I want to make sure that people know that both on our channels and Reach Out Recovery and the State of Grace Fraga, we have under the playlist Reach Out Recovery podcast, we have an episode where you talked about going no contact. And
Yes.
that is an amazing video. I've gotten nothing but good comments because I did, you know how I am. I cut little videos from the big video, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to help you. If you're going through that, check out our channels for episode number 2. It's called No Contact or something like that. Well, no contact and something else. But the magic quote, we have to do the magic quote. And it's forgiveness is powerful, but acceptance is necessary. Ooh, that one hit me. Did it hit you?
I loved it.
Yes. Definitely. Okay. So myth number 5. And that would be once you're healed forever. Yeah, right.
Sorry.
I know. So this one is so seductive because it sounds like a finish line. Like, yeah, I've made it. A place where you can just throw your hands up and say, I'm done. Yay. But the truth is healing isn't a destination. It's maintenance. Okay. Write that down. Healing is maintenance. It's like brushing your teeth. You don't do it once and call it a lifetime. Then your teeth are going to rot. We don't want that. Not cute. You keep at it daily because life keeps happening. It's day by day, minute by minute. That's life. It's not like, okay, close on this episode. No, honey. Life be lifing, okay? Right?
So, I mean, you led me right into the next bit, which is things are going to happen
Yeah.
and you can't control it. So maybe you've gotten your recovery into a fabulous place, and then you lose your job. Maybe you're doing great. You're have it all figured out, and then somebody leaves you, and things things are going to happen. Recovery is ongoing. The other thing is we change.
Yes.
The kind of recovery you have when you come in is not the kind of recovery you need at 10 years.
Exactly.
Because at first you just need help not picking up a drink. And then you get better. You know how to not pick up a drink, but you need to learn how to get along with people maybe, or you need
Right.
to learn how to be accountable in your life, or learn how to be, a worker among workers, or become self-sufficient. So all of these things are going to follow, and there are stressors with all of these things. And I want to share a story and then I'll shut my mouth. So
Then we'll go to the practical tips.
yeah. As you know, and I'll say it here, after 10 years in LA, I am moving back to the East Coast in about
Yeah.
10 days.
Why are you moving?
Here's why.
Okay.
Because the recovery life I built here 10 years ago no longer exists, Grace.
No, what happened? What do you mean?
COVID.
Ah,
So here's what happened. When
yeah.
I moved to LA in my late 30s, I moved to Hollywood. There were all those meetings. I made all these friends. There was a meeting house across the street from where I lived. There was a
Wow.
church that had meetings every day.
Yeah.
I was constantly surrounded by people. I had a copywriting business.
Mm,
Um, then I got into a relationship. COVID hit.
mhm.
Meetings went away. I moved to the South Bay. So no longer around my recovery friends, no longer
Oh,
around the meetings. Relationship ended up not working out. I mean, we are years and years and years later.
yes.
But basically, here we are all these years later. The recovery friends I had are gone.
Yeah.
They live in Ventura, they live in Detroit. So life
Right.
happened.
People move on,
We
life,
moved.
life be lifing.
People got
Absolutely.
married. I'm proud that my friends grew up and got married and moved on and got
Yes,
jobs. They're living their lives.
absolutely.
So suddenly I'm down here in the South Bay. You know, the relationship I moved here for didn't work out, which was a bummer.
Yeah.
And now I don't have my family or my recovery life that I built. So I'm not looking at this as a failure. I wrote a
Right.
big book, I built a big company, I made lots of new friends, but the reality is my recovery needs me to move home. I need the support
Yep.
of my family. I need to go take care of my dad, who's declined very
Oh,
seriously in the last few years,
I'm so sorry.
and I need to be able to focus on reach out recovery full time.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
So
best done in Florida because you have your family, you have support. We all need support, right? So yeah, life changes.
there
Life
you go.
is always lifing, right?
So I've been sitting here this last year, and again, I'm very open. I've had
Yes.
some depression, I've had some anxiety.
Yeah.
My mom got hit by two direct hurricanes, half of our city burned down. Now we've
Oh
got
my
the
God.
National Guard here. It's very stressful.
Girl, no, it is beyond stressful. It
So
is.
my
Yeah.
recovery, the world changed, and I no
Yes.
longer feel calm
And
here.
safe where you are.
That's right.
Same here. Same here. Well, I'm not going to say anything,
So
but same.
so
Same.
people,
Yeah.
when things change, when
Yep.
that relationship ends, when you no longer have the financial support of the job, when you have to say, what do I do to keep myself safe and on the path? So
Yes.
that's my whole real talk on this. Things are going to happen. You're going to change. You might get
Yes.
sick. I mean,
Yes.
Grace, I've said to people, if I get cancer, I'm going back on the weed and nobody's going to stop me.
Oh, honey, listen, during my cancer, just FYI, I am with you 100%. Don't smoke it though, because for cancer it's not good. Edibles, they're legal in California. Don't unalive me. Okay. So I was going through it in California, right? And chemo, one of the things is it makes you nauseous and you
Yeah.
can't sleep very well because and I had an indica edible every single night. And it helps so much. But let me tell you a recovery story. I was popping those things after treatment too. I was like, yeah, I can't sleep unless I have an indica candy.
Yeah.
Okay. So I told that to my doctor, and they suggested, quote unquote, that I do this program at UCLA. And it was actually a recovery program, and they paid you. They paid you. So I was like, oh, they pay me? Who cares? I'm not an addict. I'm going to take the gummies until the day I die. And so they paid me like $350. And they were like, honey, you need to let go of the gummies. You don't need the gummies, okay, anymore. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, they're right. And so I started drinking chamomile tea, and now I don't have any problems, sleeping, but I got addicted to those things.
Here's the problem with those things. They help at first. And then you're
Yes.
suddenly like popping more, doing
Yes.
twice the thing, starting to get
Yes.
headaches. I've heard this story so many times. And
Girl.
now suddenly you're putting more whatever into your body than you should be.
Yeah.
And you're going, why don't I feel normal anymore? Because this
Yeah.
thing that was helping you
Yeah.
is now disrupting you.
Totally. And with chemo, you develop brain fog, which still I'm healing from it. I'm probably 95% healed, but it affects your brain cells for real. And
Yeah.
so I would be so like, yeah,
Woo!
oh, don't worry about it.
And by the
Well,
way,
yeah,
I don't want you behind the wheel when you're like that.
girl, I didn't care.
I know no one does here. There are people,
No,
I know, but
I
it's
know it's horrible. Well, I took it at night, but the next morning I still felt the effects,
yeah.
and it makes you sleepy, which is not good. So I was tired all day. But yeah, definitely. Yeah, but you be careful with those gummies. That's all I'm going to say. Be
All right.
careful. All right.
I'm
Practical tips. Let's go
yeah.
because we have to leave in 6 minutes.
Okay. So, and by the way, I'm grateful to my life because I work and I have responsibilities today. And that's part
Yes,
of the beauty
absolutely.
of doing all of this. So, first of
Absolutely.
all, you want to create a daily practice.
Mm-hmm.
I have a daily practice. I don't do it daily. And when I don't do it, my days are not as good. So you
Yes.
really have to choose what works for you. I
Yeah.
talked to this world famous speaker, and at one point he was like, don't waste your time doing the things that you don't want to do.
Right.
Like, if you just like drawing, just do that.
Yeah.
If you just like yoga, just do that. You don't.
Yeah.
So we say, in recovery, we want prayer, meditation, journaling, exercise, but
Mm-hmm.
just find something that works for you every day. And if it's listening
Yeah.
to your weird frequency,
Yes.
and like, but whatever it is that allows you to
Yeah.
wake up in the morning and get into the day in a
Yeah.
healthy way. Okay,
And
go ahead.
something that's practical too, something that you can do, something that keeps you grounded, and do it every single day.
Yeah.
Start in the morning. I highly recommend in the morning because it just sets the tone for your day. And same here, Lindsay, when I don't do it, I'm a little bit crankier.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, number 2, check in with yourself. Just like you would check the oil in your car, you need to check your emotional and mental well-being on the regular. Just check it. If you're triggered, why am I triggered? What's going on? Just check. Am I okay? No, I'm not okay. Do I need support? Yes, I need support. Let's call a friend. Let's call a therapist. Whatever you need to keep your balance, your emotional and mental well-being. And balance, I'm all for balance. That's because I have some Libra placements in my astrology chart. But I'm all about balance. Balance is part of being healthy because when you don't have balance, when you don't have ease, you have dis-ease,
Yes.
right? So keeping your balance will keep you healthy, period. All right, practical tip number 3.
This is actually also in my book. It's one of the tips in my book's 100 tips. I call it expect problems. We called it
Mhm.
here expect waves.
Okay.
And know that healing isn't linear. It doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're
Mhm.
human.
Yep.
And, listen to my experience as I just shared, whether it's a spinal surgery, 5 or
Mhm.
6 years into recovery, or a breakup and a relocation.
Yeah,
Even when you're a person working on your recovery, things can happen
absolutely.
that you have to prepare for and know there are
Mhm.
pitfalls with this.
Absolutely. Yes, 100%. And our magic quote, last magic quote of the day is healing is not a finish line. It's a daily practice of choosing yourself.
Beautiful.
All right. So let's go to the closing thoughts. Why don't you take over, girl, with the closing thoughts?
Okay. Well, we hope we've busted through 5 of the biggest myths about recovery today. And if there's one thing I want you to take away, it's this: recovery is not a punishment. It's a reclamation
Yeah, reclamation. Yeah.
reclamation
Don't
of
ask
your
me,
life.
Latina.
Maybe, you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
So we talked about how recovery doesn't mean giving up. It means redefining it.
Yeah.
How you don't have to do this alone. Community heals. We crushed the idea that relapse is failure and showed you that healing is never a straight line.
Yep.
We tore down the pressure to forgive before you're ready. And finally, we obliterated the myth that healing is a one-time event. It is a lifestyle.
Absolutely. And here's an empowering closing thought, you guys. So here's the truth. You are not broken. You are becoming. Every stumble, every step back, every moment of doubt, it's part of the process. You're not healing to become someone else. You're healing to become more of who you truly are, your authentic self. So if this resonated with you, I want you guys to share your story. You drop comments and we'll answer your comments for sure. And subscribe and stay connected. Subscribe to both our channels. And here's a final magic quote. Healing is not about fixing what's broken. It's about reclaiming what's lost. So thank you guys for being here, for choosing your own recovery, and for stepping into the truth. You are more powerful than the myths, stronger than the setbacks, and braver than you know. Until next time, keep going. You got this, baby. All right. Thank you so much for joining.